Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new series that I'm trying out. In the same vein as my How to Fix series, I don't really have any games that I want to criticize and talk about and see how it could have gone differently right now. But I do have a few games that I had in mind that I did want to give praise, give its roses, and give its dues. And I think it's great also to not only focus on the bad but also focus on the good. I think a lot of times the thing that gets obviously the most clicks around here is the negative stuff. And it is sometimes easier to criticize than to praise. I don't want to do that for all the games. I do want to give those credit where credit is due. There have been some stellar games over the past, but I don't want to go and focus on every single one of them out there because there are way too many. I just want to focus on the ones where I feel like this one could use a little bit more love and a little bit more attention. So this is going to be a new series I'm going to try out. As always, takes time to write a script and do some research on it and everything. Obviously, I also have to play the game and all that, but yeah, I do feel like this could also be a great series. Maybe it brings attention to something that maybe you try out one day and feel like maybe this review of, I guess, helped you. But without that, this is just a passion project, as I said. But every single time you guys support us, I really do appreciate it. So yeah, but without further ado, let's jump right into it with the first one of this series, and it's going to be Ghostrunner. Now, have you ever had that almost primal urge in games to just absolutely obliterate everything in front of you? Maybe it's just quick saving in Whiterun before Fustro dying every guard, Brave, and that Talos priest who just won't shut up. Or maybe it's just going on the odd massacre in Los Santos or San Andreas when tearing through the streets of Grand Theft Auto. Nigga. There's just this simple satisfaction in having a place to release all your frustrations of the real world and channeling it towards a piece of code. Another great example of this is Doom. Is it just mindless fun? No, there is strategy and you do need to keep your wits about you, but there are enough squishy monsters between you and the objective you are heading towards that tearing them to pieces in creative ways as you move through the level becomes a gratifying experience in of itself. And that is the same concept that Ghostrunner runs with. But instead, we use a trusty katana rather than the entire country's arsenal on your back. The gameplay is done in a fast-paced loop of non-stop action through one or multiple rooms to increasingly difficult and timely parkour that takes you to the next space full of bad guys. With that kind of loop though, there is a little bit more vulnerability in Ghostrunner than there is to say Doom or Wolfenstein. While in those games you have a regular supply of health, armor, and you can tank quite a few hits while slaying demons. In Ghostrunner, you are always one bullet or katana slice away from death. The same also goes for the squishy enemies, however, standing between you and the next level, where all it takes is one swish of your blade for them to be bisected and lying on the ground. And don't think that dying this easily will put you off. I'm just going to put it into perspective. I'm literally one of the worst kind of people to give a game where dying is very easy and it's like a very difficult game. I don't like that because in my experiences with games, I do like a casual experience. Some people like the Souls-like games. I can't connect with them at well. I can appreciate them. I can appreciate what they're doing. I cannot play or finish a Souls game. It is just too frustrating and it takes away my whole, what I think the purpose of games is to escape frustration and have a sort of thing we escape towards, not feel kind of this or use frustration as the core component. But strangely enough, Ghostrunner does this really well. It's kind of this one where it fuels my frustration. It tells you to try just one more time. Do it just one more time. And partly because of this is because it has an instant restart button. Like the moment you die, you instantly reset. There's no loading screens, there's no buffering, there's no waiting time. It instantly puts you back from where you started on the last objective, no matter how many times you die. And I think, if I'm being honest, if that instant prompt or that instant reset was not there, I probably would have uninstalled the game a long time ago. But because it has that instant sort of just try again one more time, it kind of just goads you, it kind of pokes you like a bear to just give it one more go because you can do it. But yeah, this loop of combat, parkour, trial and error, that it doesn't become stale as every level introduces a new enemy or a new way to scale up the Dharma Tower. With that too, the game uses these opportunities in between to keep sprinkling lore throughout and explain the plot of why the Ghostrunners are what they are, what went wrong in the world, and the introduction of the antagonists of the game. There are also collectibles scattered around that add to the world building, but it is sort of like the formula like what we see in Doom, where if you explore the levels of hell a bit, you kind of got these backstories of like the prophecy of Doom guy coming to destroy hell and like tear every single demon apart. You had these prophecies that add to the lawn of stuff, but it's the same minimalist storytelling that like we see in a lot of Souls-like games, and even the newest edition, Elden Ring, which like has been showered with praise by critics and fans alike, still uses this minimalist storytelling. And I am a person who actually enjoys a little bit of more narrative here and having it be well narrated. I do actually completely agree with what Doom and Ghostrunner have done here. There are fast-paced games, they're shooters, they're kind of just hack and slash or shoot and kill games. The secondary thing here is the plot. The primary thing here is the combat. And both games have placed their focus in completely the correct place. They have their priorities set straight. And yeah, it's still a decent story. It's not like the story is overtly bad. It's still a very decent story that I won't get into because it does spoil quite a bit of the entire journey of the game, the reason why you're going towards this and all that. But it does play a second fiddle to the exquisite gameplay of this game. And as you also may have noticed in the backdrop of this commentary that I'm doing, the setting of this game is a future cyberpunk type of thing, with a typical appearance of a utopia, with an underlying dystopian living for anyone beneath the elite. Capitalism, I tell you. It's the same type of setting we also saw in Cyberpunk 2077, though both games displayed their portrayal of crime, attitude towards it, and just living in the world in general in two beautifully different ways. Where Night City appears as an almost lawless wasteland of corporate boogeymen, common criminals, and kind of just everyone doing their own thing, pulling off heists, or just becoming legend through the crimes you commit and the heists you do. Dharma City appears to be essentially under martial law, where everyone that has no power is under the boot of Mara. And it's a setting that I still feel has not unlocked its potential yet, be it in RPGs or action like these two games, or in any other genre out there. And could you imagine the crazy builds, just a little sidetrack, could you imagine crazy builds and characters we could get with a cyberpunk narrative paired with more of Ghostrunner's combat and mobility? Yeesh, sometimes a man can only dream. This game isn't without its flaws though. The difficulty of the bosses kind of feels like it's in reverse, I'm not sure. I struggled way more against Tom and found Mara's battle to be easier than that of Hell's. Granted, I do suck at the parkour, but it still felt just a little bit easier as, you know, things progressed. The last parkour part of the entire game also doesn't just feel brutal, but it's just kind of plain mean. It's just honestly like, it feels really like a kick in the gut. And when it comes to the characters, the ones we do have are well voice acted and well rounded, but I would appreciate a little bit of more of an introduction, a little bit maybe more of a cast, because I mean, fleshing the game's playtime out would probably be what you would have done here to more than the 6 hours that it is, but I would love to have a bit of more of a cast when it comes to the game. I think we only had 4 or 5 characters maybe in total. But I am willing to look past all of this because this game just, it gets it, you know? It is a hard feeling to describe, but it is a major reason why some games can have all the mechanics in the correct place, all the storytelling, the world building, the bells and the whistles, and it delivers on its gameplay, and it still doesn't capture you. It's almost like a soul. Like, I don't want to talk in cliches and stuff like that, but it is almost like a soul of the game. This game, Ghostrunner, understands it in its simplest form. It is an action game, a hack and slash. You just running with a katana, going wild on enemies, and cutting down grunts with your trusty blade. No more, no less. And that's just right. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I thought I would do a little bit of a quick fire one this time around for a quick game, a quick fast-paced game. But yeah, it was really an enjoyable experience. I am happy that my community managed to pick it and that I finally got to playing around with it, because it's probably been on my library for 2 years now going now. and I'm so happy I picked it up. I do feel a little bit bad that it took this long, but nonetheless, I finished it. It was a really satisfying experience, and if you haven't tried it out and you used to have it in the library, do give it a go. It is such a satisfying, gratifying thing. And anyways, thank you again for everyone who supports this. Thank you for always being there and always like kind of supporting the channel and having fun with me and everything. I've tried to like do way more on my channel nowadays, just to like kind of have a little bit of variety, because it is the spice of life, everything. But yeah, I'm just enjoying it at the moment. I can make short content, I can make long content, I can put out any video I want, do any stream I want. I'm already having a really good time, which I hope you guys do as well. But anyways, that's all from my side. Thank you again for everything you guys do. Stay tuned for more of these. I have a few more games in the pipeline that I want to do this for. But until then, we'll see you guys next time, and we'll chat soon.